Morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Wednesday, August 24th, 2016.
Commissioner Repenning, James, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Angelica Samayoa with the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Shorm Karagani, LA Sanitation.
Good morning, Kendrick Okuda, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment, no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section, and no speaker cards under the regular items.
All right, then we'll close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. Let's take care of some housekeeping items first. Agenda item number 12 is being withdrawn for now by the Bureau, so item 12 will be withdrawn. Agenda item numbers 2 through 9 are assessment hearings from the Bureau of Street Lighting from various council districts, Council District 4, 15, 1, 6, 7, 13, 8, and 11. Mr. Flamenco on agenda item numbers 2 through 9.
Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting. Items 2, 4, and 7 pertain to lighting districts which we are creating in conjunction with private development projects. Item 3 pertains to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with a community development block grant project led by Council District 1 and the Bureau of Street Services. Items 5, 6, 8, and 9 pertain to lighting districts which we are creating in conjunction with Bureau of Street Lighting initiated LED conversion projects. Only public parcels are impacted. No private parcels are included in these 4 lighting districts. Ballots for items 2 to 9 were mailed on July 14, 2016. Ballots for items 2 to 9 must be received by the City Clerk's office by next Wednesday, August 31st. We have not received any objections to date on items 2 to 9. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward items 2 to 9 forthwith to City Council.
Any questions on agenda items 2 through 9? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda items 2 through 9, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? Without objections, we'll adopt agenda items 2 through 9. Any issue sending 2 through 9 forthwith? Thank you, Ruben. We'll send 2 through 9 forthwith. Agenda item number 1. We have bids today for a street lighting pole painting project, Unit 6, estimates $304,350. Mr. Campos on agenda item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. The bids to be received today, August 24th, is for the street lighting pole painting project, Unit 6. City has estimated this project to be at $304,350. This is in Council District 1 through 15. We have received 2 bids. The first bid received for this project is from CTG, that's Charlie, Tom, George, Construction Incorporated, doing business as CT Georgiou Painting Company, that's GEORGIOU, for a total bid amount of $791,500 even. That's $791,500 from CTG Construction Incorporated, doing business as CT Georgiou Painting Company. The second and final bid received for this project is from Color New Company for a total bid amount of $619,720 even. That's $619,720 from Color New Company. President James, that concludes the bid openings.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to my motion that we receive the bids by Commissioner Repenning? Any objection? Without objection, we'll receive the bids. Can we do so forthwith? Thank you, ladies. We will do so forthwith. Agenda item number 10. Authority for expenditure, County Sanitation District number 2 related to Calabasas. The Office of Accounting and Bureau of Sanitation requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $140,000 for contingent refuse disposal services provided at the Calabasas landfill and for green waste processing when significant delays are experienced at the city's primary facilities for July 1, 2016 through June 30th, 2017. The prior fiscal year, the expense was $46,202. I recognize that we're just holding the funds for this. Rowena Romano on number 10.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners Davis, Repenning, and Jacinto, Bureau Representative, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. Rowena Romano with LA Sanitation. President James, as you mentioned, we are here for the AFE with LA County Sanitation District Calabasas landfill. And we do use this landfill as a contingent as needed facility. And every year we put about $140,000 into that AFE. Last fiscal year, we only experienced about 4 adverse condition days over at Sunshine Canyon landfill for high winds. So we only spent about $43,000 of that funds. Any time that we need to use these contingent landfills, we pay them as needed. And then the remaining funds are held in that account in case we do need them for the future. None of the general fund is impacted, and the funds come from the Solid Waste Resources Revenue Fund.
Any questions on agenda item number 10? I don't have any questions. Rowena, thank you for the explanation. Commissioner Repenning has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 10, seconded by Commissioners Davis and Jacinto. I don't have an objection to that, so that will be the order. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 10 forthwith. Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item number 11, Authority for Expenditure, County of Los Angeles, Office of Accounting, and the Bureau of Sanitation, requesting board approval and execution of an authority for expenditure in the amount of $260,000 to pay for the solid waste management fee in the amount of $1.50 per ton for tonnages diverted from BFI Sunshine Canyon landfill to Waste Management El Sobrante landfill for the July 1, 2016 through June 30th, 2017, the current fiscal year. Pursuant to the Los Angeles County Code, Chapter 20.88, all solid waste landfilled or transformed in the County of Los Angeles or received, collected, conveyed, or hauled to a location outside of Los Angeles County is subject to the Los Angeles County Solid Waste Management Fee of $1.50 per ton. Apparently, we spent approximately $235,000 of this last year. Ms. Romano on number 11 as well.
Good morning again. Rowena Romano with LA Sanitation. As you mentioned, President James, we pay $1.50 per ton of solid waste that is either landfilled or transformed in LA County or exported out of LA County. We do pay Waste Management El Sobrante for their fees, their tip fees, Riverside County solid waste fee. But in that fee that we pay to El Sobrante is not included the $1.50. So we have to pay this to LA County separately. And this will pay for that. We have additional buffer in there up to $260,000 in case we send more tonnages to El Sobrante in case of adverse condition days at Sunshine Canyon landfill.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on agenda item number 11? I don't have a question on number 11. Commissioner Penning has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 11. I'll second it, along with Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 11. Any issues sending 11 forthwith? We'll send number 11 forthwith. Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item number 12 has been withdrawn. Agenda item number 13, the Digester Gas Utilization Project Quarterly Revised Status Report from the Bureau of Sanitation. Mr. Cope and Mr. DeFetta, good morning, sir. Gentlemen.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Executives, Mr. Jordan and Mr. Campos. My name is Tim Dafera with the Bureau of Sanitation, and I'm here with Mr. Dave Kopp of Bureau of Engineering to provide our quarterly updates on the Digester Gas Utilization Project. I'm happy to report that the project is moving ahead, and we're basically going into the final quarter where we, in essence, looking forward to completing this project. A lot of progress has been made since the last report we made, and we invite all of you to come down there and see the tremendous work that has been done. The contractor's working very hard to meet all the scheduled deadlines. And Dave will go through the report as to report on the progress.
Thank you, Mr. DeFetta. Mr. Cope.
Good morning. David Kopp, Bureau of Engineering. Hopefully everybody has a copy of these slides here. I was going to go off these Hopefully Fernando provided those. As follows the same format I've provided for the previous quarterly oral reports that we've been giving for about the past year or so. A little bit of background here, you may be familiar with, this is a design, build, operate project, and the Bureau of Sanitation, the project management arm for this, and the Bureau of Engineering is leading the design and construction management efforts. Our prime contractor is Constellation Energy. They're a development firm for the operator that will be coming in to operate the dig-up facility, which is the Exelon Corporation. Going to the project schedule page there, the project contract duration is 987 calendar days, leading us from the date of notice to proceed from February 19, 2014 to November 2nd of this year, which we're calling commercial operation. This is when contractually they are to be operating the facility sustained. Before then, we will be doing equipment commissioning, and I'm excited to report that we'll be starting that in September next month, starting with the gas treatment systems, followed by the combustion turbine generators, which were, it's commonly referred to as first fire for these turbines. We are to, we have this drop deadline for the end of the year to generate this power before the current Hyperion DWP energy agreement expires, which has been in place for several years.
Would you repeat that, David? What you just said?
Sure. There's the commercial operation deadline. There's two deadlines that are defined in the contract. There's November 2nd for commercial operation, and there's this 59 days of buffer time between that and what's considered the drop deadline, which is New Year's Eve of this year. And that coincides with the expiration of the energy agreement between Hyperion and the DWP. Currently, we give them our biogas to the neighboring scattergood generation facility, and in turn, we get a pretty good discount on energy. Summary of progress. We're at about 85%. It's probably a little conservative there. And this includes everything from the beginning. As a design build project, this includes the design component, which we're well ahead of now. Procurement of major equipment, which has all been installed at this point, which some of the pictures in the subsequent slides will show. Demolition, there was considerable efforts. We're complete with demolition at this point. And then commissioning and startup, which is the brunt of the work leading forward. All of our major utility connections were done between the last quarterly report and this one. There was a major tie-in which required the shutdown of the north side of the plant, which hasn't been done in decades. And this required bringing in a fleet of generators to bypass the main generation area where the power comes in as a juncture point for the north side of the plant. We plugged in a number of generators so that we could safely tie in the dig-up facility so we can start backfeeding, and when the project's in operations, we can generate power ourselves, so to speak. The fieldwork progress by facility, in summary, basically most of the major work's complete. We're really focused on the small bore piping and the minor electrical connections. We're making considerable efforts to complete those electrical cable connections by way of doing second shifts at night, which so far has been going great. No complaints from the public to date. And I'd like to move to the picture slides. I tried to show where possible some before and after, between the last couple of quarterly reports and today, to give you an idea of how far along we've moved ahead, as Tim mentioned. And if you were to visit the site, I think the most impressive thing would be inside of the power generation area, where back in November was pretty much cleaned out and we finished the concrete deck. Now we've got all the structural steel and the major equipment installed, and we're completing our cable runs and our small bore piping. The compressor building, it was hard to get a good picture in there because of all the scaffolding there, but it speaks to the efforts contractors making to complete their electrical connections and small bore piping installations in that area. The north yard, the majority of the field work's complete. Now they're just pulling the cables. So you see in the picture there's a guy doing that very thing. And yesterday we had our meeting to work with the plant and the contractor to begin our efforts to backfeed the electrical connection and start energizing equipment by next month. The next picture is taken from one of the digester observation decks, shows the difference between April, the last quarterly report, and today. The concrete decks are poured, all the major equipment is installed, And like with the other areas, we're installing the minor ancillaries and electrical and small bore connections. And last but not least, the West Yard came before your board a couple years ago requesting budget to do this. And this was a need for the facility to kind of reduce congestion in the area, as a result of a lot of construction in this area, as well as, the extensive biosolids operations at the plant where trucking is done continuously through most of the morning and early afternoons. This cleared out an area, removing equipment that had been decommissioned for a number of decades. So over the next quarter, we're going to be completing these minor electrical and mechanical connections, and we'll be starting our commissioning of equipment, starting with gas treatment systems, cleaning up the gas, at which point we'll send it to the combustion turbines and start commissioning that equipment, along with the steam turbine generator, and thus bringing into full operation the cooling water system, which was delivered through a separate project with the city. And on a related note, the next slide kind of touches on the summary of DGUP companion and benefit projects. The summary is the same as it was in the last quarterly report. These projects range from consultant support, inspection support. There's a lot of equipment that gets made outside of the city, and so it's important that we send inspectors there to make sure that we're getting what the contract specifies and ultimately what the ratepayers paid for. Other projects include, delivering the cooling water supply system. There were some modifications to the return line. All the field work is complete at this point. The pumps are ready to go. We're going to start commissioning those. We've already started. We're going to keep continuing doing that in conjunction with the DGUP startup efforts. And then, of course, any of the gas handling projects to make sure that the gas that's being supplied to DGUP is of the quality that we specified in the project. And I'm happy to report that all those are moving smoothly. We don't anticipate any problems there. Going to the second last slide there, reporting on the utilization status of MBEWBE participants. Happy to report that we've exceeded the numbers already, and we anticipate those numbers to keep going up, in particular the WBE numbers. The WBE firm here is the electrical contractor, and as typical with projects of this nature, that's typically one of the last components of the work to complete, so that number should be going up. Last page there is the budget status. The original contract's $127,302,000 to be delivered over a schedule period of 34 months. So it is a project of great magnitude. And as Tim mentioned, we're moving along with fervor to finish by the commercial operation deadline, if not by the end of the year. The contract includes allowances to which I would say the majority has been encumbered to date, as anticipated, for different site conditions and handling of the waste materials that were part of the demolition scope of work. I came before your board in October of last year to request additional contingency budget to authorize the city engineer to issue multiple change orders. Those are in negotiation process. However, the contractor has requested additional compensation above what those change orders identified. So at this point, we're working together at the table to negotiate those. We've just initiated the process. The process is working. Everybody's working well together, as I've experienced on previous construction projects. However, as a result, I anticipate I will be going before the board at a later date, possibly to request additional budget as we determine appropriate, as we review these changes, the majority of which we received over the course of the last few months, between the last quarter and this quarter report. And that concludes my quarterly summary.
Commissioner Repenning.
Just wanted to chime in on the issue of the change orders and our budget for the project. It's very important to this board that we have accountability, and so it's just very important to us that we really try to come in as close to being on budget as we can.
Absolutely.
So I hear you that it's something that you guys are working on, and whatever you need from our end as a board to support your work with our contractor to make sure that the money that we authorized is being stretched as far as it can.
Absolutely, and I can say from our end, as I have on previous projects requesting additional budget authorization or change order authority from the board, any additional funds or any funds we spend on a project as it relates to change order have to be justified. And so our team, stresses that as we progress through the negotiations process. And, the start is to default to what the contract provides for. And that's our starting point with the negotiations. And of course, any change authorization at our level or as requested by the board, we'll make sure that's justified 100%.
Commissioner Davis.
I wanted to ask, are you satisfied with the progress that we've made on the project thus far?
Yeah, like I said, for a $127 million project over 34 months to be built within literally a living, breathing facility, one of the biggest in the country, I'm impressed with the progress of the work. I'm very impressed with the project team. I mentioned about the electrical shutdown, which in my opinion was one of the most monumental tasks I've had the pleasure of being a part of in my career at the city. And I think it's a testament to the level of effort, not just the contractors making, but the plant is as well, to make sure that this project stays on budget and schedule as best as possible.
As we look at the digester gas utilization technology, where does it put Los Angeles in terms of the utilization of this as compared to other larger cities?
As you know, Hyperion Treatment Plant is water reclamation plant is one of the largest in the world. So everything that we do is a size of order magnitude more than most plants that you can see around the world, just based on the size and the population that contributes into the plant. So we are looking at basically producing up to 25 megawatts of power, and that's major enough to power the entire plant and take care of our needs, where we are totally self-sufficient and where we're using a renewable resource that gets generated on a daily basis. So this is definitely state-of-the-art technology that is being employed here to be able to make sure that we make use of a vital renewable energy source to power ourselves. And the plant is one of the largest electric consumers on the grid. So by taking ourselves off the grid, that frees a lot of capacity for DWP to be able to meet other needs out there, especially during hot summer months.
Great. In terms of the budget, you said originally, I guess we were anticipating 127. We're now up to, I guess, the ceiling amount is 138. When we looked at the MBE, WBE, I'm very happy that we were able to carve out some inclusion in those areas. Obviously, we recognize that this is a highly specialized area, and often we will not have the certified and qualified minorities and women in this area because of its specialization that we would have in other areas, and we recognize that. To that end, I want to say, though, that while I do realize that there are unforeseen circumstances for which you might be coming back before the board to get more funding for items that might occur. However, to Commissioner Repenning's point, certainly we want to be as prudent as possible, and I would like to add to that. Even though we have done recognizably a good job on MBE and WBE, I don't want us to sit down and rest on our laurels as we come back to the board for this additional work. If we can also look and see where we can continue to include more involvement of minority businesses and women businesses, please don't stop there. Because when we look at the total projected revenues that will go out for this project, for what we have been able to capture is good. But if we could be great, then I would like to move from good to great. So I just want to leave that with you.
Thank you.
We hear you, Commissioner, and we're constantly looking at that. And as Dave mentioned, a lot of the work left towards the end of this project is on the electrical, and that's a WBE contractor, so those numbers will go up.
That's WBE?
Yes.
And then if we can get some MBEs, let's do that too.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you, President James. Gentlemen, great report. This is almost the second to the last quarterly report for DGUP, a monumental project for our city. And so I'd be an 85% where we're at and hearing the progress and seeing all of it. I think it's incredible. So we look forward to coming out and seeing, what stage we're at. As I think, as we get it online after December 31st next year, I mean, it's going to be off the grid. This year, sorry. That'll be off the grid, and we'll start a cycle of cogeneration that takes us really self-sustaining. And that's, another stage for Hyperion. So we'll continue to lead the country in that. So that's a great thing for our city. I'm going to echo Commissioner Repenning's, encouragement to negotiate and protect and do the best for our city as we find out what change orders are requested, the RFIs, the whole process of validating and making sure that we do our due diligence so that any change orders are justified and they are fair and just. So we'll join you in that and supporting you in that as well. So thank you very much for the support, for the work.
Anything further? Thank you, gentlemen. The oral report will be received. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Mr. President, this takes you back to the approval of the minutes.
Oh, that's right. Is there a second to my motion to approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Friday, August 5th, 2016 by Commissioner Repenning? Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. I anticipate, Mr. Campos, that means that we've cleared the desk.
Now you have, yes.
Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.